Good morning. Hello. How are you? It's another Sunday. I've made it to 10. This is my 10th weekly vlog. So, kudos to me. For those of you who are new, just watching, my name is Stephanie Brown. I'm a photographer and an interactive installation artist based in Atlanta, Georgia. If you are joining from my main channel on YouTube, Stephanie Squared, welcome. And I'm also going live on my art Instagram at Created Brown. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, I'm also going live there too. Thanks to StreamYard, I've been able to kind of do one thing and show up in multiple places. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? It's week number 10 of me going live on. This is a way for me to get out of my own comfort zone, also just to push my creative practice and endeavors. I've got, let's see what the timeline's saying. Ooh, 58 days. I started with over 100 days. I started this, I think February or the end of January. No, I think it was the top of February I started this. But going live, that is, it's been 10 weeks of that. But the start of this year, I, for a multitude of different reasons that I've already gotten into in my Substack and different articles, I'm making a shift in my day job and really shifting to migrating my main source of income to be my creative art practice. I've been an exhibiting artist and working in my practice for 12 years and more. And it's something that has always been alongside all of the other jobs that I've been doing. So, depending on how long you've known me, you've known that I've worn lots of different hats, from project manager to consultant to learning experience designer to instructional designer to executive director of a museum. And while doing all of those things, I have always maintained my creative practice. I've always been an exhibiting artist. I've always set thresholds for myself to make sure that I'm in at least a few shows every single year. I have a personal desire to do one art residency a year, which I've almost kept up with all this time. And I'm really proud of where I've been able to carry my practice to. I'm really looking to move that to the next step and to the next level, and really to bring my inner child dreams, to reality, really. So the top of this year, I decided to give myself a deadline. I've never given myself a deadline in my art practice before. And I said, hey, you've got until July 1st to essentially take my income from my day job and try to replicate it in my art practice. And yes, that's a very aggressive goal. But the main part of it is less about me getting the right dollar amount per se, but it's more about me shifting my priority, shifting my mindset, and shifting my energy to finally prioritizing my art practice as number one, opposed to something that was 1B or 1C or 1D. I can never say that I put my art practice on the back burner, because I never have. It's what brings me joy. And I've also learned through this process that I've never stopped being an artist, no matter what hats I've worn. I bring my creativity and my creative self to all of my different roles. So whether it's W-2 or 1099 or free, that doesn't really matter. I'm really learning now how I show up as a creative through all of these different avenues. So that's the journey that I'm on. That's what I've been documenting with weekly updates on YouTube. That's what I've been documenting through articles on my Substack. All of that on top of being a new mom. My little guy is going to be 1 this month, which is a lot. That if I got into in this update, it would be way too long. So I won't get into that, but yeah, he's going to be 1 this month, and that's coming with a lot of feelings and emotions. But I'm also looking at the fact that I just got 58 days left to my end goal. So I guess I wanted to utilize this update this week to just talk about what's coming up for me and what I have going on. So I don't have any upcoming exhibits. I did recently sell a piece of art. Yay. So look forward to collecting that check on my first Mother's Day next weekend. I do have a small goal for myself to try to make an additional $1,000 a month, to lean towards this larger goal of fully replacing my income. So that's been going okay. Um, I'm also really serving as an advocate in my county. So I live in DeKalb County. That's east of Fulton County, east of the city of Atlanta. And I've had the honor of like, through all the work that I've done with other nonprofit organizations, I've gotten really familiar with City of Atlanta funding and opportunities for artists, but that's also kind of built quite the soapbox for me because DeKalb County really lacks all of those things. And I'm really hopeful that we can get there. We can get to a space where DeKalb County is offering financial resources and services for artists the same way Fulton County and other cities and areas do. So that's something I've been really advocating for on the side. And what I realized is that I can really bring myself as like an artist and a consultant together in these like municipal spaces. And that's an area that I'm trying to pivot into, if you will. So when I think about all the different ways that I can make money as an artist, I've really learned to maximize and broaden my perspective of how I see my creative practice. As a podcast host, I'm showing up as a creative consultant. I'm showing up as a creative, specifically in my consultant spaces, whether it's for a nonprofit or for like a municipal kind of government entity. I'm really coming as an advocate of artists. I'm coming as an artist who has an active business, who, you know, through school and other gigs and other opportunities, like I realized my superpower is really to help be a voice for creative communities and help make that make sense for non-creative people and non-creative entities. So that's a space that I really want to dive into more because one, I feel like it's mentorship. It's a way for me to put my other art friends on. And I love any opportunity to like pass on a paid gig to another artist is really great. And a lot of these government entities, they mean well for the most part, but they have no idea how to tackle the arts. They have no idea how to tackle arts and culture. They have no idea how to bring any of those things to their city or to their county. And I'm trying to like step into more rooms and just like raise my hand or like speak up and share comments about like what I've seen, what I feel like they can do. I'm not anti-mural. I love murals, but I'm always stepping into these spaces and posing the question of like, what does art look like in your community beyond murals? Because oftentimes murals end up being like, like a lipstick kind of thing. It can also sometimes be a sign of gentrification, depending on who did the mural or what it is. But it's also like you can't come into a neighborhood, throw up a mural, and be like, yeah, we're engaging artists and the arts and all of that. Like there's so many other ways that I feel like the arts can be tapped into really creating a sense of community, brand identity for a neighborhood or an area. And those are all things that I'm finding that municipal bodies, whether it's some cities that I've been in conversation with or DeKalb County in particular, that I'm starting to have more conversations with on the county level, they really are genuinely interested and desire to do those things. What I'm finding is the hang up is money. None of these people thought to put together a budget for arts and culture. So while they're trying to address housing and other resources, and I mean, a lot of other really important things, I'm trying to serve as an advocate of like, hey, art can help you solve these problems. Art can support the housing stuff too. Art can support the accessibility things too. That brand identity that you want for that neighborhood, that cohesiveness, that increased tourism that you want to bring, like hire me, like let me help you bring together a creative team and other artists to come together to bring these ideas to life. And I think that'll really like turn the curve. So we'll see where that goes. I'm in conversations with some people. There's no contracts or anything like that on the table, But what I've been telling myself with my 58 days left is I'm just going all in, and every step of this way, I've been going all in. I'm not giving myself time to be anxious about anything. I'm not giving myself time to be worried about money, where like how I'm going to pay my bills or anything like that. I'm really hyper focused on just trying to maximize every single day the best that I can. So that's what I'm trying to do in that space. If anybody has any leads or ideas, share the video or put me in contact, please. My website, stephaniebphotos.com. My email is stephanie@stephaniebphotos.com. But you can also connect with me directly on my site. So that's it on that end. What else did I do this week? I went to a webinar, an online webinar for this new platform called Cohart. Right now, they're a platform. They're looking to be like the one-stop shop for artists. It's a new platform. It's not even like a year public yet, but it's had a lot of really great new traction. There's some artists that I know and respect that are on that platform, and they're offering a lot of tools right now with zero commission. So that's something that I'm looking to dig into some more. Back in the day when I used to be a wedding photographer, we used resources like Wedding Wire and The Nod. And oftentimes on those platforms that you're paying for as a vendor, they'd say, hey, give us a few months before you like give it quits or call it quits. So that's what I'm trying to do with Cohart. I was really in between lots of different platforms and what do I want to spend my time on? And the reality is I can't be on them all. And I have been trying to sell work through my website, but I'm finding that I think I need a little bit more of a community space to help people who don't know me discover my work. And Cohart is able to provide that at, again, zero commission. And right now we need all the dollars coming in. So I told myself with essentially these last 2 months of my goal, I'm going to go all in with Cohart. Because it's new, they're also providing a lot of incentives to bring artists in. So the more I use it, the more they'll also help like spread the word. And they've got a really strong following, celebrities included. So you never know who might see my work, collect my work. So I'm going to give that a go. I've been kicking it down my to-do list for a while, but now that I've got less than 60 days left, the pressure's on. So I'm really trying to use every single day to lay a foundation. It is okay if I don't like make my final like end goal by July 1st. What's more important to me is that I gave it my all. What's more important to me is that I didn't leave any stone unturned, that I opened every door, built every window, open all the shades, like all the things. I'm just trying to get my hands on and put a lot of effort and nurture. And that's really the phase in the season that I'm in. I'm nurturing my opportunities. I'm nurturing different spaces and relationships in hopes that it will, fruit to other things later on. So, I have a comment. Oh, yay. I'm so glad you're engaging DeKalb County. There have been historic low budgets for the arts, except City of Decatur. I'll keep you in mind for anything I come across. Yes, thank you so much. I've only lived in Atlanta for less than 10 years. So I'm going on year number 7, I think, of living in Atlanta or in the metro Atlanta area. And I've always lived in DeKalb County. So when I moved here, I was in a condo in Avondale Estates. And then after 3 years, my husband and I were just like, yep, we like it. We want to live here. And it was not sustainable to rent. So it just made sense for us to buy, knowing that we wanted to be here for an extended period of time. And we ended up moving just like 12 minutes further east into the downtown Stone Mountain area, which I love. I love where I am, love where I live, love being surrounded by a Caribbean community, love hearing my fellow Caribbean accents when I go to certain grocery stores and markets. That means a lot to me and to us since we're both Caribbean. But for the people like the OGs who have lived in this community, I've learned so much about the artistic past of DeKalb County. There was a thriving art scene. There was resources for artists through the county. Even right here in downtown Stone Mountain, Main Street had like 4 to 5 artist-run galleries. Art Center partnered with the city and the county, and they provide like subsidized rent for gallery owners and artists. And this was less than 10 years ago. So I would have like just missed this when I moved here. And it's been a ghost town ever since. And I'm a huge advocate and proponent for like a lot of the thriving community that people desire. It comes from art. It comes from artists. It comes from creative communities. The only hard part is that not a lot of people want to invest in said creative community, but they want the benefits of having an arts and culture scene. And you just can't have your cake and eat it too. I really want to help hold organizations and municipalities like to the fire that like y'all are going to have to pay us living wages, like recognize our value in order to reap those benefits, opposed to, again, just paying for a mural and then keeping it moving. That's one opportunity, but really creating these ecosystems. And if you look at other parts of Metro Atlanta, think about all the new developments that have been happening around this area. And no matter which one you think of, all of them have an arts and cultural hub. All of them. There's some type of arts and cultural center for that development and for that. That's a part of the branding. That's a part of the draw for bringing people in. Now, how they did that, how well they did that, were artists compensated well? Is it affordable for artists to participate in and engage in? That's another story. But you'll see, like, in terms of development in a general sense and what's growing areas is that. And I just feel like if we're conscious with bringing in artists and artistic teams and communities, that it's also can help address the preservation of a community, opposed to that art and cultural drive being a divisive measure that then outprices existing residents or increases taxes for existing residents. I think there's a lot of things that we can learn from other case studies in Metro Atlanta and other areas. And then for these other parts in DeKalb County that are just perfect potential for multiple arts and cultural hubs. I just think there's a better way that we can do that and still address all of these important things like accessibility, housing, and affordability. Those are kind of the kinds of conversations that I'm having. I'm on a committee right now for the Stone Mountain Trail. It's the one free thing that I'm doing right now. But it's because there's no other like really hardcore arts advocate on that team. And I'm trying to be present in that space to really speak on behalf of artists for the community and make sure that through every step of their ideation and research that they're not forgetting us, that they're not forgetting this inherent creative community that is spread out all throughout this county. So the one downside with resources not being widely available for Metro Atlanta artists, like the cost of living in Atlanta is so high and continues to get higher. You've got so many artists going to the outskirts, outside of the perimeter, and then now we no longer have access to those resources. And the county is getting smart. You can't quite use somebody's address and things like that anymore. I know some people who are very comfortable just like, sharing different information in order to get those resources. I'm not comfortable with that, but, it works for some people. And my philosophy is that we shouldn't have to do all that. We shouldn't have to pretend to be someone we're not. We shouldn't have to lie or anything like that to just have access to resources. And I just want to see municipalities, counties, and organizations just pay artists what they're due, treat us with living wages. I'm very anti-starving artist. You'll learn that and know that from my podcasts about navigating and creating sustainable careers. And that's something that I'm looking to continue to advocate on. So all that to say, that's my update for this week. I will catch you all next weekend with another update. This is a podcast week. So every other Tuesday, I drop a new podcast episode. This week, I'll be dropping my episode with Shane Darwin, who's a sculpture and installation artist based in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I know him from my days at University of Michigan. Excited for his episode to go live on Tuesday. And then my live Q&A with him is actually going to be the end of this week. Normally it's on the bye week, But he's got a show opening in New York that day. So we bumped it up early so that we can talk about his show and point people in that direction. I'm also looking to be a guest speaker on other podcasts now that my podcast is gaining a little bit of traction. And I'm kind of halfway, not halfway, I'm like a quarter of the way through of dropping episodes for this first pilot season. I'd love to continue being a speaker on other people's podcasts. Again, I'm just trying to get myself out of my discomfort of being public and speaking publicly. And this every live that I do is a challenge for me to do that, get better at that, hone that skill. I really do wish to have more speaking engagements. But who am I to ask for speaking engagements if I'm not actively speaking? Hence the weekly vlogs. So yeah, keep me in mind. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me. I'm an open book. Please feel free to DM me your thoughts, feelings, questions, all of that. And I'm happy to address it the next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.